We can see your screen. You can just put on
Yes,
the slideshow and start.
yes, yes. Good afternoon to all. Today I am going to present a case where we faced so much of diagnostic difficulty between chronic thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension versus fibrosing mediastinitis. Uh, we had a case, 6.5 years female child who presented with the complaints of non-exertional chest pain for 4 months, abdominal distension which was progressed to generalized edema for 2 months, and dyspnea on exertion which progressed from NYHA class 1 to class 3 over a period of 2 months, associated with poor weight gain, decreased appetite and lethargy without any syncope, palpitations or cyanosis or any recurrent LRTI. She does not have any contact with the tuberculosis. And on general physical examination, she is very sick looking and had tachypnea, tachycardia, and her JVP is grossly elevated. She had mild pallor with multiple cervical lymphadenopathy. She had absent BCG scar. On systemic examination, she had a RV type of apex with features suggestive of pulmonary hypertension, and she had a heart failure in the form of moderate ascites with hepatomegaly. So we, on this, we have 6.5 years old girl with a predominantly right heart failure, present worsened over a few months with chest pain, with severe PAH and RV dysfunction in NYHA class 3. And baseline investigations are suggestive of raised inflammatory markers in the form of elevated ESR, CRP, and thyroid function test and viral markers are negative. Her chest X-ray was showing pulmonary oligemia with cardiomegaly with band-like opacities in the left upper zone. So, echo was suggestive of two large homogeneous thrombi in the right atrial superior aspect and the right atrial appendage protruding into the coronary sinus, and distal right pulmonary artery is not visualized. She had severe RV dysfunction and normal LV function without any structural abnormalities. With this, we thought of the possibilities of chronic thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension, extensive compression of the RPA, and pulmonary veno-occlusive involvement or fibrosing mediastinitis, and other rare possibilities of idiopathic PAH with in situ thrombosis and other mimickers. So we go ahead with the CT angiography, which showed a diffuse RPA narrowing with a sudden cutoff, and she had multiple paratracheal and pretracheal lymph nodes, and she also had thrombosis, which was seen in the echo. So in view of diffuse RPA narrowing, which may be due to intraluminal obstruction or extraluminal obstruction due to fibrosing mediastinitis with multiple lymphadenopathy, so we go ahead with the PET CT, which showed active lymph nodes along the RPA and multiple active lymph nodes both in the left upper zone and left lower zone. However, we cannot able to come to a conclusion of whether CTEP or fibrosing mediastinitis. Other etiological workup, she had only MON2 positive, rest of the prothrombotic workup was negative and immunological workup was negative. So in view of sick status and large thrombus in the large thrombus and diagnostic uncertainty, we thought we go ahead with the surgery where we can come to a conclusion of diagnosis either fibrosing mediastinitis or CTEP, and at the same time there is a therapeutic that is also therapeutic in the form of thrombectomy for the right atrial thrombosis. If that turned out to be CTEP, that can lead to pulmonary end arterectomy plus pulmonary endarterectomy. To our surprise, there is no mediastinal fibrosis, and as we have seen multiple lymph nodes which was seen in the CT and PET, that was also confirmed. The one large lymph node which is outside the superior aspect of the right pulmonary was not causing any obstruction. She had a definitive evidence of thrombosis in the form of webs in the right pulmonary artery, which was removed, and RPA plasty was done. There were some non-significant thrombi in the left pulmonary artery also, which that was also removed. And the lymph node which was removed, that was showed necrotizing epithelioid granulomas, which was suggestive of tuberculosis. However, other tuberculous workup like AFP or TB-PCR was negative. With this, we come to a conclusion of CTEP with granulomatous mediastinitis likely due to tuberculosis in view of epidemiology and MON2 positivity and findings on the chest, CT chest and PET, along with the histopathological evidence of necrotizing granulomatosis. TB is known to cause pulmonary thromboembolism due to hypercoagulability and dysfibrinogenemia, which is also supportive in this case. In the previous slide, we have seen there is elevated fibrinogen levels. However, we have extensively reviewed the literature. We could not find any case of the CTEP as a primary manifestation of tuberculosis. There are some case reports where pulmonary embolism was seen in tuberculosis, especially in third, fourth decades, in the immunocompromised individuals, but not in the pediatric population. So this is the first case which we have seen. And tuberculosis can involve any type of the involvement like intraluminal causing thromboembolism, or mural involvement in the form of pulmonary arteritis, or extravascular involvement causing fibrosing mediastinitis. So in the course in the hospital, after this confirmation, we have started her on 4-drug ATT, and she showed subjective improvement within 7 days of anti-tubercular therapy, and she was started an anticoagulation along with pulmonary vasodilators with like riociguat, and she continued on decongestive measures with furosemide spironolactone. And after this, she was followed, and latest follow-up is at 1 year. She completed 6 months of anti-tubercular therapy. She was continued on decongestive measures and anticoagulation with warfarin and pulmonary vasodilators like riociguat. And over the last 1 year, she has gained weight of 3 kgs. She is active and she is in NYHA class 1. She doesn't have any heart failure symptoms as of now. And her echo was showed here, which is showing very well good size of the right pulmonary artery, measuring around 14 mm, and her PA pressures also came down. She had only mild pulmonary artery hypertension and mild RV dysfunction. And this is a CT angiography at 1 year.
What time is that? You need to wrap up.
Yes, I'm coming to it only. In this also we can see RPA is very well there. So to conclude, tuberculosis is known to have unusual clinical presentation. CTEP as a primary manifestation of TB, however, was not described in the children. This case highlights the ongoing challenges in the diagnosis of common complex situations, and underscores the importance of high index of suspicion and a stepwise evaluation and multidisciplinary management. Thank you.
Yeah.